Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 12th of August 2013. So in today's news we have a tier 16 hunter, flex feedback, then tweets on the legendary cloak, reforging, and some miscellaneous stuff. Overall though, it's actually a really information-packed and interesting episode. So the first thing is tier 16 hunter, oh god. Now I play a hunter, so this is a little bit close to my heart. I think this is probably the most, well, it's one of the most stupid things. I mean, I thought the tier 11 lol Murloc was bad, but holy crap. So, yeah, we have... What's up with that helm? I mean, your head is actually smaller with the helm on than without. So there's one weird thing. And the rest of the armor, the imbalanced shoulders just look weird. One of the shoulders is just so damn big, you could kill someone with it. I mean, the amount of shoulder pain you must get wearing that damn thing. And here's another thing. Now, I actually think this means it's confirmed that Blizzard's actually developing Halo 5. And the reason for that is, and I'll show this on the screen, the helm is the exact same as 343 Guilty Spark. They're literally the same dude. So there we go, we have a little bit of a crossing of the streams of those intellectual properties. Really, tier 16's been such a letdown to me, bar the Paladin and maybe one or two select other sets. I don't know. Transmog is not an excuse to release a per tier of armor. And at the end of the day, I think the player feedback in general has been more negative to this tier than I've seen in a very long time. And I've been playing since, well, pretty much the final tier of Sunwell, or final tier of Burning Crusade. But anyway, that's that. Next thing we're going to talk about is flexible rating feedback. So they've opened up Flex for a little bit of testing, and, well, pretty much they are reducing the overall difficulty in the next PTR patch, and they did specifically say that this is meant to be as ICC 10 was to ICC 25, i.e. a tier of difficulty lower. And I think that's fine. At the end of the day, the first difficulty level that they sort of have in the PTR, it's probably going to be overtuned or undertuned, and it will need change, so don't go crying from the rooftops just because they've done this. It would be a bit silly to do that, so yeah, don't, because you're not silly people. Now, next up, they said that they expect that the guilds who are doing it, this content is still made, so it's going to require a little bit of communication and understanding on behalf of the raid leader and the players, which is fair enough. If anything else would be just be diluting it to LFR level, and that would be pretty much terrible for everybody involved. Now, they also said that Flex has a difficulty curve, unlike LFR. LFR is generally a pretty flat curve. You might find spikes in that curve like Duramu, where it's just the mechanics of the boss. But yeah, it's nice that there's a difficulty curve. At the end of the day, the people who are participating in this need to feel like they're getting somewhere, like they're progressing, and I think that's the best way to do it, is have a difficulty curve. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Now, next up, they said that you will still have to pay attention to things like mechanics and work with them. And because of this, they don't expect pugging to be a sort of thing that happens instantly, but it will come down the line. Now, they were pointing out, like, people in November, December, basically whenever ICC launched, they weren't pugging and killing Festergut or something. It takes a bit of time for the player base to be able to do pugs and get the experience needed, but it will be a thing, and I think that's what's important. And at the end of the day, if you're just a casual raider, you maybe, back in the day you like jumping into a pug or something, well, this is good for you, because by the time you've had your fun in the Timeless Isles, it will probably be time to start pugging the raid. So, it's great, basically. Everybody gets content, and it seems like the pacing's really fantastic. Now, the next thing we have is tweets, and the first sort of set of tweets are about the legendary cloak. So, they weren't happy with the sort of entitlement deal of Dragon Wrath and the Fangs, and if they do legendary weapons again, they will make them much rarer. I think this is actually a good thing. People don't really seem to care about Fangs and Dragon Wrath, but say, not Golden Bow of Kel'Thalas, the Bow, Warglaves of Azzinoth, Thunder Fury, those old, really, really rare items are still things of prestige, and even if you don't get one, you sort of understand that it's a special thing to get one, that it's rare, but I think most people are actually okay with that, instead of screaming saying everyone should be able to have one. Now, they also said that they were moving on from legendary weapons to cloaks to keep things fresh. No, that's not what you do, Blizzard. If you want to keep something fresh, you make a really cool, refreshing, awesome model. You don't give people a cloak. Because a lot of people disable the damn cloak, because cloaks clip through armor, sometimes they clip through, if your race has a tail like a Draenei, the friggin' cloak will clip through their tail. Really? A cloak? of all the feckin' pieces. So, yeah, I would definitely fundamentally disagree with the idea of a cloak. I think it's nice to have a gear progression or something like that over the expansion, but I think to call it a legendary, perhaps for it to be like a special epic or something like that, or maybe if they actually use the artifact tier for what legendaries used to be, and just had things like the cloak as being legendary, so you can get this legendary cloak, but if you're extremely lucky or extremely good or something, then you can get an artifact item. That would add 2 more tiers above epic. Now, that would be dangerous, because does it diminish the meaning of epic? Well, if the artifact stuff is sufficiently rare, and I mean really, really, really Ashes of Valar style rare, then I think that would be okay. So, there you go. And finally, they said that you need to be in the correct spec for the proc to work, and that absolutely makes sense. Now, for reforging, they said that most people use a website, and the feature works best for healers because the amount of mana regeneration you have is still a thing of feel. Give me personal preference, so yeah, okay, works for healers. Does it work for everyone else in the game? Nope. At the end of the day, if your mechanic just leads people out of your game onto a website to find the right answer, then it's not a very good mechanic. The worry is that trimming that fat would just lead to more streamlining and have a little bit less depth, but I'd argue that there is pretty much no depth coming from this feature anyway, because people don't have to think about it, they just go to a website and let that do it for them. So, thank you, Mr. Robot, you're very helpful. Now, they also said that they don't like how much work is needed to make an item wearable, and that perhaps just gemming and enchanting is enough, so is that them hinting that reforging might be going away? I'm not really sure. Now, finally, we just have some miscellaneous tweets. Now, Ghostcrawler said he was not happy about how panda factions were done, but he felt it was necessary so that everybody could play play a panda. And having done the panda starting zone recently, I thought it was pretty crap. I mean, I was getting two of my friends into WoW, and one of them was a panda, and the other one was a warlock, and I was with the warlock as a worgen. And we were actually doing cool shit in the Worgen Island, and the poor guy, Tom, he was like, "You guys, I'm getting firewood." And then 2 minutes later, "Guys, I'm getting oranges. Guys, I'm collecting incense. Guys, I'm getting more firewood." Really? And then just how the story played out, and also from a lore perspective, it makes absolutely no sense for a panda to be a horde. Absolutely none. In terms of how the races are, in terms of, because, the pandas, they align with Garrosh initially. And even at the, Garrosh as he was post-Cataclysm, and sort of pre all the shit going down in Pandaria, I still don't think it makes any sense for the pandas to do that. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit weird. Now next up, this is about art. They advise that people give suggestions on gear instead of shouting bad. Well, what I'd say is that when people shout bad, it just generally means they don't like what the current thing is, so you should explore more options, and I suppose that probably is what they do. But yes, as for suggesting, I mean, I don't think suggesting particular armor is a good idea, but what does make sense is just suggesting a feel. That sort of thing. I don't know. Whatever you did, like, to come up with tier 16, don't do it again. It really didn't work. So that's the thing. They also said that they are unlikely to have 8-piece tiers because it means, there's no selecting between off-tier gear and if you go for your 4-piece or not. And they don't like larger bags because they don't like larger bags. At the end of the day, I think the real storage issue problem is not the size of bags. They should be okay. I mean, you can run around with 128 slots. My bank all has 4 royal satchels. The problem is, the game just throws so much random bullshit at you. I nearly like the idea for, like, professions if you just had a glyph bag, which would carry, like, every glyph you had or something. I don't know, I think that would be pretty cool, and it would really just make the whole system more streamlined, and mean that they don't have to start making, like, 70 trillion bag slots and shit. So anyway, that is it for today's show. If you have a comment, please leave it and I'll get back to you. And if you want to help me out, like, favorite, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.